Scorpio, listen to me with the part of you that feels before it thinks, because what I'm about to say is not casual energy, not background noise, not just another video playing in the distance while you scroll. Tomorrow, November 21st, carries a frequency that is louder than logic and sharper than routine, and your spirit has already started picking up on it. Maybe you felt it as a strange nervousness you can't explain, a heaviness that settles in your chest when you look at your calendar, or a quiet dread when you remember a certain plan, meeting, place, or person you're supposed to see. Part of you has been trying to brush it off, calling it stress, overthinking, anxiety, but another deeper part of you knows that this is different. Tomorrow is not just another day on the calendar for you. It is a turning point, a crossroads moment where your choice to step into or step away from a certain energy will have consequences that ripple far beyond 24 hours. And the reason this message has found you now is because you are not meant to walk into that energy asleep. You are being warned so you can be wise, protected so you can be free, guided so you don't confuse danger with destiny just because it looks familiar. Scorpio, has there been a place you keep thinking about lately that doesn't sit right, even if everyone else insists it's fine? A room you're supposed to walk into, a conversation you're meant to have, a gathering, an invitation, a physical location, or even an online space that you're expected to show up in tomorrow, even though every time it comes to mind your body tightens. Pay attention to that. Your mind can be persuaded, your emotions can be manipulated, but your body is honest. It tenses before your tongue finds language. It shrinks back before your brain crafts excuses. That knot in your stomach when a certain person's name lights up your phone, that pressure behind your eyes when you think about tomorrow's plan, that wave of exhaustion that hits you right when you're about to agree to something you don't want. None of that is random. Tomorrow's energy may amplify these signals, not to torment you, but to make the truth impossible to ignore. This is not about living in fear. It's about honoring the warnings your soul has already sent you, the ones you've been silencing because you don't want to disappoint others or be called dramatic or paranoid. You are not paranoid. You are spiritually sensitive in a world that has taught you to ignore your own knowing. You've done it before, haven't you? Walked into a situation where something felt off, but you went anyway because you didn't want to seem difficult, or because you convinced yourself you were overthinking. And afterward, when the energy crashed, when the argument erupted, when the betrayal unfolded, when the atmosphere left you drained, you remembered that first moment of hesitation and wished you had listened. Scorpio, tomorrow is the kind of day where ignoring that hesitation could pull you into dynamics that bind you, not uplift you. There may be people around you who are perfectly comfortable in energies you have outgrown, people who thrive on drama, control, subtle power games, or emotional entanglement. They may want you present tomorrow because your presence feeds them, your attention, your reactions, your light, but just because someone expects you to show up does not mean your spirit is required to obey. You are allowed to opt out of what doesn't feel safe, even if you can't fully explain why. You are allowed to disappoint others instead of betraying yourself. Underneath tomorrow's shift is a spiritual test. Will you choose duty over truth, guilt over alignment, habit over intuition? There may be an event, a meeting, a visit, or even a seemingly harmless hangout that on the surface looks normal, but at a deeper level carries hooks, old patterns, unspoken agreements, subtle emotional traps. You might find yourself tempted to go, thinking, it's just one more time, or I'll be fine, I can handle it, or they're expecting me, I don't want to make things awkward. But the version of you who keeps handling it is the version of you who keeps carrying the cost. Tomorrow's energy is like a magnifying glass, bringing into focus the imbalance in certain connections and spaces. If you step into an environment where you've historically been silenced, minimized, used, or emotionally drained, the weight of that pattern could press harder than usual, leaving you feeling more exposed, more triggered, more exhausted than you expect. This isn't punishment, it's revelation. The question is, will you walk into it willingly, or will you honor the warning and step back before the storm even begins? For some Scorpios, this place could be literally physical. A house that always feels heavy, an office thick with unspoken tension, a social setting where you become the quiet observer while others drink, gossip, or project. For others, it might be a digital space, a call, a chat, a group message, a long conversation you already know will drain you. It could even be that one-on-one interaction you've been dreading with someone who smiles with their mouth but not with their eyes. Someone whose presence leaves you feeling smaller, second-guessed, or constantly on edge. Tomorrow, the spiritual weather around you favors withdrawal from what disturbs your peace. Not because running away is always the answer, but because this specific day is designed to highlight what no longer deserves such easy access to you. If your spirit has been quietly whispering, "Not there, not this, not again," let tomorrow be the day you finally listen. Scorpio, you are not here to be easily manipulated. You are not here to be the emotional shock absorber for people who refuse to face their own shadows. You are not here to walk into places that your intuition has already left. Tomorrow's dangerous shift is not about some random curse hanging over the date. It is about what happens when powerful energy lands in spaces that are not built to handle it with integrity. Your energy is potent, magnetic, deep, and when you step into a room, the frequency shifts. Some people cherish that and create safety around you. Others want to harness it for themselves, consciously or unconsciously. On a day like November 21st, where the currents are already strong, any imbalance in power dynamics, any hidden grudges, any unspoken resentments can flare beneath the surface. A simple comment becomes a trigger. A small disagreement becomes an eruption. A casual interaction becomes a subtle power play. The danger is not in the date by itself. The danger is in using tomorrow to continue a cycle you were meant to break. You've already noticed patterns with certain people or environments. After spending time with them, you come home and feel strangely deflated, full of doubt, replaying every word you said, wondering if you did something wrong. Or you leave feeling like your dreams are smaller, your confidence lower, your light dimmer. This is not love. This is not support. This is not neutral energy. This is extraction. And tomorrow is the kind of day where continuing to offer yourself to extraction will feel more painful than usual. Not because you're weaker, but because you are finally more awake. You might feel a strong urge to cancel something last minute, to reschedule, to say, "I can't make it," or simply to go quiet and choose your own company over complicated company. Honor that pull. You don't need a dramatic explanation. You don't need to justify your boundary to people who have shown you time and time again that your discomfort is acceptable collateral for their comfort. For some of you, tomorrow's test may show up as an invitation to step back into an old version of yourself. The one who never says no, the one who laughs along when something doesn't feel funny, the one who stays late to smooth over drama they didn't start, the one who absorbs everyone's emotions and then goes home to cry alone. That version of you was born in survival. It helped you make it through times when you felt you had no power. But you are not that powerless person anymore, and carrying that role into your future will cost you more than it protects you. When the text comes, when the call rings, when the reminder pops up on your screen about tomorrow's plan, take one slow breath and ask, how does my body feel about this? Not your guilt, not your fear of conflict, your body, your chest, your gut, your breath. If the answer is tightness, dread, or instant fatigue, that is your higher self speaking through sensation. Believe it. You might worry that if you don't show up, you'll miss something important, a piece of information, an opportunity, a moment to prove yourself. But understand this, what is truly meant for you will never require you to ignore your intuition to receive it. A blessing that demands you go against your spirit isn't a blessing, it's a bargain. The law of spiritual alignment is simple. What matches your truth will not ask you to betray it. Tomorrow, the dangerous shift is not that something bad will come out of nowhere like a lightning bolt. It's that you could be pulled back into giving your energy to what has already shown you it is not safe, not respectful, or not aligned. And in doing so, you delay what is genuinely trying to reach you. Saying no to a draining situation on November 21st is not merely about avoiding harm. It is about clearing space so something cleaner, clearer, kinder can find you in the days to come. If you choose instead to honor your inner alarm, tomorrow can become a powerful reset rather than a trap. Imagine waking up and feeling the old pattern tugging at your sleeve, inviting you to repeat the same script. And this time you don't. This time you decline with a simple sentence. This time you let the group chat move on without you. This time you trust that awkwardness is less dangerous than self-betrayal. This time you walk past the door you usually enter and keep walking. That moment, small on the outside, is massive on the inside. It's you choosing spiritual safety over social obligation. It's you sending a signal to the universe. I am done feeding what drains me. I choose alignment now. And when you do that, chains that once felt invisible begin to loosen. You feel a little lighter. Your mind is a little quieter. You sleep a little easier. That is how cycles break, not always with fireworks, but with one honest no. Scorpio, there is also a quieter layer beneath all of this. It's not just about what you avoid tomorrow, but about what you listen to within yourself. You've had dreams lately, haven't you? Flickers of warning, strange images, symbols that linger when you wake. You've had moments where a person's face floats into your mind and your spirit says, distance. You've had flashes of remembering times when you ignored your intuition and paid the price. All of that is surfacing now to give you context, to remind you that you are not crazy for feeling what you feel. You are remembering your own record of truth. Tomorrow's shift is a chance to choose differently, not from fear, but from wisdom. Fear says, the world isn't safe. Hide from everything. Wisdom says, my energy isn't safe everywhere. Let me be selective about where I go. As you move through November 21st, think of it less as a cursed date and more as a sacred threshold. Every choice you make about where you go, who you answer, what spaces you enter, is like a vote for the future you want to live in. If you choose peace, the future rearranges around that. If you choose old chaos, the future waits a little longer to shift. You don't need anyone else's permission to protect yourself. You don't need the stars to scream or the sky to crack open to validate your instincts. This message reaching you now is already confirmation that you are seen, that you are guided, that there is a loving intelligence trying to keep you out of rooms where your spirit will be mishandled. And as much as this sounds like a prophetic broadcast, it is also something softer, a story, a symbolic map, a spiritual reflection meant to spark your own intuition rather than replace it. Let it land that way. Let these words be a mirror showing you one possible timeline, one way the energy of this moment could unfold if you keep walking into what hurts, and also how it could shift if you quietly refuse. So Scorpio, as tomorrow approaches, ask yourself with honesty, what place does my soul not want to stand in, even if my habits keep trying to drag me there? What conversation, what visit, what environment makes my body say no before my mouth says yes? And will I have the courage to listen this time, take what resonates from this, and release what doesn't? Let this message be less of a command and more of a companion, a reminder that you are allowed to choose safety without needing a perfect reason. Think of this narrative as a lantern held up along your path, not the path itself. If it feels true in your bones, let it guide you to gentler choices. If some parts don't fit your life, let them drift by like leaves on a river. Not every word is for every soul, and that's okay. What matters most is that you remember the power that already lives inside you. The power to sense when a day, a room, a plan, a person is not aligned with where your spirit is growing. And as you stand at the edge of November 21st, may you trust that power more than you trust your old patterns, and may you walk not into dangerous energy, but into the quiet, sacred safety your heart has been asking for all along.